The following voices are AI generated. We hope you enjoy the video.
It's time for the moment we've been waiting for. Let's dive into this classic, folks, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. A true masterpiece and a great finale of the animated series.
SpongeBob and Patrick get into their biggest adventure. Also, we're in Mexico celebrating Dia de los Muertos, and Shadow flirted with a bunch of Latinas before we started this video.
Hey, it's been a long time since I've seen all the women named Maria. I love this country. I love the people. And most importantly, the SpongeBob movie is a decent movie based on a series. The Dreamcast and Meta Era crews are also here in Mexico, so we'll be there until around Thanksgiving week.
Ahoy, mateys! I didn't know we'd be here in Mexico. I thought we'd be somewhere at the Pacific Ocean.
Like we promised you, we're reviewing your first movie. We were gonna review it back home, but after Halloween, it's the Day of the Dead. We gotta honor our families after they go up in heaven.
I'm not alone with you land critters. I brought Patrick along in this review. He's been learning Spanish so he can get his own food and asking where the bathroom is.
SpongeBob, there's so many street vendors. I never seen so many vendors with different foods before.
Yeah, their food may not be like Krabby Patties, but they're still made with care and passion.
Now that you and Patrick are here, we better watch the movie.
Before we start, I better get birria tacos, menudo, lechon, and cheese pizza.
I heard the chili dogs are spicier than in the USA and in our homeworld of Mobius. Now let's watch the movie and recap it to the fans.
1 hour and 27 minutes later.
Well, that was a blast! I still think this is the perfect ending to the SpongeBob SquarePants saga.
It wrapped up so many loose ends and gave us a satisfying conclusion. Plus, the humor and heart were top-notch.
I must admit, it was a lot more entertaining than it was back in the day. I thought it was just average, but now, especially with its sequels and the show's later seasons, it's a true finale and the best movie based on a Nicktoon.
Like with most nostalgic movies, it's a children's show that appeals to everyone, and this movie proves it. To think that this movie is now 20, you know it's old like us.
I'm glad you all enjoyed my first movie. It was a special time for me, too.
I still can't believe we're in Mexico. And we watched our movie with a bunch of land creatures.
Yeah, it's been a wild day. But I think we can all agree that this movie is a timeless classic. The movie begins with a dream sequence spoofing an interrogation scene, but really, it's a customer at the Krusty Krab needing cheese for his Krabby Patty, and SpongeBob added the cheese.
The customers ended up turning into SpongeBob's alarm clock foghorn as he wakes up for the grand opening ceremony of the Krusty Krab 2. We see SpongeBob getting dressed for the event and tells Squidward and Patrick about it. We even have that scene where Patrick said that he loves being purple, as they planned on going to Goofy Goober's ice cream party boat as a celebration.
Meanwhile, the little green villain of the show and movie, Plankton, was jealous of Mr. Krabs' success and decided to have a new plan to get the Krabby Patty secret formula, and it was Plan Z, which is stealing the crown of King Neptune, who, by the way, looks different from the cartoon.
And when the ceremony took place, I thought I was the new manager due to the obvious hints, but it was Squidward who became the manager because Mr. Krabs said I was just a kid. It was a recurring theme in the movie that everyone said I'm a kid. I was depressed after finding out, and went to Goofy Goober's anyway, but in sadness.
I came in at the wrong time when SpongeBob left. I was naked with a flag on my butt and wanted everyone to cheer SpongeBob, but everyone left as I crashed to the stage. But at least we had a good laugh out of it, and there's memes throughout the movie.
We'll talk about the memes later. After SpongeBob left the ceremony with depression in his mind, Plankton sneaks into King Neptune's castle to steal the crown so he can frame Mr. Krabs for stealing the crown. King Neptune himself looks different from the cartoon, as he's bald and has a shorter beard instead of the flowing long hair and beard. Not to mention, he's an even bigger bully than in the cartoon.
We also meet King Neptune's sweet daughter, Mindy, voiced by Scarlett Johansson, who opposed her dad's rule of the sea and wanted him to be a better and more reasonable king. She eventually helps SpongeBob and Patrick in their journey.
As King Neptune freaks out over losing his crown, Plankton ends up taking it to Shell City. We find out that Shell City is a gift shop from the surface. If you watch the cartoon, You should already know that gift shops are considered a death sentence to sea creatures.
And while Plankton stole the crown, I was weeping at the Goofy Goober Nut Bar, and Patrick cheered me up by having triple goober berry sunrises. We had a little too many. I know what you're thinking. Yes, they're alcoholic ice cream sundaes. Fittingly, we're in Mexico, which means I can get more with some fresh tequila after this video.
I never thought it would take so long to get wasted from tequila and ice cream. I stayed out when SpongeBob left the Goofy Goober Party boat. He sobers up faster than me because of his hard workmanship.
You know, guys, Shadow, Amy, and I went to a Goofy Goober truck one night in the border between Texas and Mexico a couple years ago. We tried the triple goober berry sunrises as well, and they were just so addicting. Amy especially ate the most to the point she projectile barfed the next morning.
Everyone should already know all Amy's have weak stomachs. I rarely get alcohol now because of it. I don't know how you sea creatures eat so much ice cream, let alone take in alcohol. I'm surprised neither of you have become alcoholics.
Thanks to Professor Robotnik giving me the ability to never get sick, I can't get drunk and I can't vomit. Although I burp and use the bathroom like anyone else, I have the strongest immune system out of everyone in this channel, along with the other shadows. Back to the movie. After SpongeBob and Patrick eat their Goofy Goober sundaes, we have the next scene at the Krusty Krab 2, where King Neptune meets Mr. Krabs as he assumed the cheapskate took the crown and sold to Shell City.
But I stepped in, standing up to the crooked, bald king by giving him a time limit to bring back the crown. But because of Patrick shortening the time frame, 6 days was the amount of time we were due to get the crown back.
I joined in, and we rode this Krabby Patty car called the Patty Wagon. Then Mr. Krabs became frozen solid while we went for the crown. That hot Princess Mindy even helped us out along the way, giving us a bag of wins. And she later gave us mustaches to become men with her mermaid magic.
Because of King Neptune freezing Mr. Krabs, Plankton took the secret recipe to quick succession to the chum bucket. As SpongeBob and Patrick went to a gas station, they met hillbilly stereotypes and got carjacked by a burglar who went to the Thug Tug.
Because of their resilience, SpongeBob and Patrick continued to walk on foot to the county line. As for Plankton, his Krabby Patties at the chum bucket were a hit, but little did the fish of Bikini Bottom know it was a ploy to get them in a zombie hypnotic state with their bucket helmets. At first, it was a reward, but really, it was a mind-controlling device to have Plankton rule the world.
Mindy even pointed out that her father was too busy to deal with Plankton's tyranny because of his male pattern baldness. I guess someone hasn't heard of hair implants or transplants unless that doesn't exist underwater. Also, Plankton already knew about SpongeBob and Patrick getting the crown, so he hired a vicious, cold-blooded predator simply known as Dennis, who's voiced by Alec Baldwin, the same guy that played Larry Quinn from that piece of shit insult to Dr. Seuss, the Cat in the Hat movie from 2003.
Dennis was a scary bad guy. I always wondered how Plankton got in contact with a hitman. I guess with the quick profits he made from selling Krabby Patties, he used the big bucks to hire him, most likely.
We walked on foot looking for Shell City on foot, and we thought we were close to it in 5 days, but it was by car. And thankfully the car we had was at this mean guy's hangout, where bubble blowing isn't allowed.
That's right. You two were at the Thug Tug and went looking for the key to the paddy wagon. There was even that Motorhead song, You Better Swim. I distinctly remember hearing that song and thought it was another theme song for Triple H, since 2 of his theme songs have Motorhead perform them.
Speaking of Triple H, the Chaotix and the others will review 3 of the most recent WWE events after us hedgehogs spend time with SpongeBob and Patrick. And yes, they'll be in Mexico too. Also, I love Motorhead. Just because I'm a pink girl who loves pop music, I enjoy metal and hard rock too.
This scene is known for SpongeBob and Patrick throwing a little bubble party at the bathroom, but one bubble angered the bar patrons and had everyone in a line so they'd find out who's a quote-unquote baby. The DJ played the Goofy Goober theme song, and SpongeBob and Patrick did their best not to sing. Out of nowhere, a two-headed fish sing the song and a bar brawl ensues. With luck, Patrick got the key and the two sea creatures got out of the thug tug.
Mother of pearl! I still get chills seeing ourselves trying not to sing the Goofy Goober song. We sung it non-stop, and that bartender meanie was pushing us to our limit.
It felt so painful not to sing. I was melting like a candlestick thingy.
The next scene has Squidward in peace after not dealing with SpongeBob, but got suspicious when he saw random fish wearing Plankton's chum bucket helmets. He then threatened Plankton about telling on him, but that's when the mind control came into the bucket helmets, and that's when the fish of Bikini Bottom turned into zombie-like loyalists and turned Squidward into one of them. It was actually a scary scene seeing poor Squiddy swarmed by bucket-wielding zombies.
We then see SpongeBob and Patrick laughing at their encounter with the thugs at that bar, and we notice they come across a lot of skulls and bones. Because of their love of ice cream, we see an oddly placed ice cream stand with an old lady, but it was a trap set by a giant frogfish that ends up chasing SpongeBob and Patrick.
I should have said this earlier, but if I were in the movie, I would have chaos controlled to bring the crown back before eliminating Plankton. The movie would have ended early and on my terms.
That could have been sweet, but anyway. We drove away from that monster, but once we saw the trench, the monster ate the paddy wagon, but an even bigger monster ate the monster that was chasing us. I gave up on going down the trench, but Mindy came back to motivate us to get back to the mission by turning us into men. She even showed us how Bikini Bottom turned into Planktopolis.
We cried when we saw our friends suffer, but when Mindy gave us mustaches, we went down the trench with quick fashion like the land creatures. That Dennis punk was also getting closer to us. Also, another meme of me took place when SpongeBob and I were shocked the paddy wagon was eaten by two monsters.
As SpongeBob and Patrick went down the trench, we have that memorable song they sang called Now That We're Men. The heroes were brave going past the sea monsters, and the monsters even became after they saw SpongeBob and Patrick do some kind of padding or slap dance. Whatever that was.
I guess seaweed mustaches gave them a confidence boost while singing about becoming men. Gotta love the song itself where they do that slap dance that makes the monsters friendly.
Bold move coming from giant sea monsters. Even in SpongeBob, there's plot armor. As SpongeBob and Patrick got closer to Shell City and getting past the friendly monsters, they meet Dennis. No doubt he was a threat, but I could beat him senselessly if I were in the movie.
We were caught red-handed by Dennis, but once he tried to stomp on us, that's when we met the giant human deep-sea diver known as the Cyclops. We were captured and got to a fishbowl. Patrick and I were then at a heating lamp, and Pat pointed out we made it to Shell City, the gift shop. Good thing I remembered gift shops when Mr. Krabs warned me about playing with hooks.
I thought we'd dry off like barnacle chips, but our manly, goofy goober tears made this sprinkler thingy spark up and got us back, and we went for the crown. The Cyclops tried to get us, but all the other dead sea creatures came back to life and attacked the Cyclops.
There was even a trio of mariachi fish at Shell City. That alone made us chuckle and wonder if they were at Acapulco or Cancun, since Mexico's beaches are breathtaking.
As SpongeBob and Patrick got out of the gift shop, they got the bag of wins. But Patrick inadvertently opened up the bag and they were trapped at the surface until the Baywatch and Knight Rider actor David Hasselhoff showed up to help the sea creatures head back to Bikini Bottom.
If the movie was made later, either The Rock or Zac Efron would have helped instead of Hasselhoff. Back in Bikini Bottom, King Neptune was about to kill Mr. Krabs, but SpongeBob and Patrick were able to arrive on time. But just before they arrived, Mindy did her best, stalling her father while Plankton was watching the whole thing. Dennis also returned by attacking and chasing SpongeBob around Hasselhoff. He looked sillier without his sunglasses and bandana. He went from a badass to a weak, yet goofy-looking villain.
I tried bribing Dennis and gave him bubbles, and the soap of the bubbles made his eyes red, giving us the chance to weaken him more. A boat hit Dennis, thus ending him. I don't know if he survived or not, but we knew he was gone. As for David Hasselhoff, he launched us back to Bikini Bottom in a quick fashion by using his pecs to give us a boost down.
we made it back on time, bringing back the crown to the king, and Mr. Krabs was saved. But Plankton brought Neptune a bucket helmet of his own, and everyone wanted to kill us. But SpongeBob came up with a plan to motivate himself to stop Plankton being a mean bully.
SpongeBob said that Plankton cheated his way into success, but he also embraced being a kid and all the other nicknames everyone gave him, but the one thing no one called him was a goofy goober. That's when we have the grand climax of SpongeBob spoofing the Twisted Sister song, I Wanna Rock, to Goofy Goober Rock. And man, it was the best scene. It was like a true music video.
I can see why SpongeBob and Patrick call the fans goofy goobers, because it's like a cult or a club of rock stars or ice cream lovers. It was even a badass moment when SpongeBob turned into a magician or wizard when he held an electric guitar that blasted the bucket helmets, freeing the fish from their zombie fate. Even the other characters such as Squidward, Sandy, Gary, and Mrs. Puff were freed.
Everyone was enjoying the last-minute rock concert as more fish showed up as they trampled Plankton. Just as everything was getting back to normal, Plankton was arrested, and King Neptune apologized to Mindy for being a brute father and king, as well as to Mr. Krabs for not believing in him.
And Mr. Krabs apologized to me for not letting me be the manager. I was immediately excited about being the new manager, and the movie ends. I was the manager of the Krusty Krab 2, and it was the canonical nautical ending of my franchise.
And the song Ocean Man plays. That was the song these speedy land critters sang at our 25th anniversary party. I wish I had an award for helping SpongeBob get the crown and saving Mr. Krabs.
Even the song Best Day Ever played at the end of the credits. Before the episode of the same name was made, the song was at the end of the movie's credits. There's even a post-credits scene of the live-action pirates at the theater leaving, and the usher was played by the chick from the apartments in Spider-Man 2 and 3.
We had to save bringing up the pirates to the end as they got tickets to the movie. So it's a movie within a simple pirate movie. Talk about inceptions. They even cried when SpongeBob and Patrick were dried up in Shell City. Strange that Eggman never had a pirate ship with robot pirates in the games. His voice even sounds like a pirate.
Once again, 2004 was an awesome year for movies. We had The Incredibles, the first SpongeBob movie, and Shrek 2, and Spider-Man 2. How fitting that we reviewed all those movies. Check them out after this video. It's a shame that the cartoon continued after this movie. It was the perfect ending.
Yeah, we were ready to ride off into the sunset, but Nickelodeon had other plans.
We could have lived happily ever after, eating Krabby Patties and jellyfish jelly. But no, they wanted more.
Knowing Nickelodeon, it's gotta be corporate greed.
Well, even though the show continued, this movie will always hold a special place in our hearts.
That's true, and we'll always cherish the memories of our time together, just like Shrek and Spider-Man.
As for the memes, they were everywhere in this movie. There's SpongeBob screaming yes at the ceremony.
It can't be classic SpongeBob without the memes. They have the energy, the passion, the pure chaos of it all.
And don't forget about Patrick's shocked face when the paddy wagon got eaten. It was priceless.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking. But I think my favorite part was when Princess Mindy knew my name. I was so flustered.
Oh, Patrick, you're such a romantic! And can you believe this movie was lucky enough to have a VHS release? That's right. In 2005, when it was the last calendar year for the videotape, there were two versions, the slipcover and the yellow clamshell case. If only my VHS tapes were yellow. But oh well, I'll take what I can get.
Good thing it did, since it's the last Nickelodeon animated movie on VHS, and the last overall Nickelodeon movie on VHS is the pigshit remake of Yours, Mine, and Ours, starring Dennis Quaid and Rene Russo.
The less we bring up that ass of a film, the better. As for SpongeBob on VHS, it's something older fans would be familiar with. How quaint.
It really is. I'm glad SpongeBob and I were part of that era.
Sorry for interrupting, but Dreamcast Sonic and I would like to bring up our thoughts of the first SpongeBob movie as well. I really admire SpongeBob's determination throughout the film. He never gave up, no matter how tough the challenge.
It's a great lesson for everyone. We should always strive to do our best, even when things get tough. Like dealing with 6 babies that have hereditary speed.
I forgot you other Sonics came with us to Mexico. I'm assuming your crews are here too.
They're all here. My crew's just sightseeing, and my 6 kids are with their mother.
And I thought you'd remember that we were here because you and your other selves would find Latinas. I was the last overall Sonic and current/meta character to know about going down the border.
Now that the other Sonics are here, let's get back and finish the review. I also like how the first SpongeBob movie shows that it's okay to be a kid, but it's important to grow and learn from our experiences.
I'm just glad I could make a difference.
Yeah, and we had a lot of fun along the way being goofballs.
During the Goofy Goober rock scene, I got a little jealous that Patrick got to wear those fishnet high-heeled boots. I could have pulled them off better.
Fishnet high heel boots? I don't remember those.
You and my knucklehead could get along with your silly shenanigans, Patrick. You'd also wear something feminine without even noticing.
And as for Plankton, he sure was an evil tiny green stick thing.
Plankton was surprisingly menacing in this movie compared to the cartoon. His Plan Z was actually going to work if not for SpongeBob and Patrick's intervention.
He was a real threat, but he underestimated the power of friendship and determination.
And he also underestimated the power of SpongeBob's goofy, bubbly charm.
I guess you could say I saved the day.
There's one thing I always wanted to ask. Why does King Neptune look so different in this movie? He's bald and scruffy, not the long-haired, wavy-bearded king we know from your show.
Yeah, and who's Mindy? I don't remember her from the show.
I don't know. Maybe he just got a new look due to time passing and my show's ending. And Mindy is probably his daughter from another marriage because he also has a son named Triton later in the show. I guess gods have mistresses since King Neptune's Greek name is Poseidon.
I don't care who Mindy is. She's pretty.
Of course you would think that. I guess pink creatures are all simps. Just like Amy was to Sonic over the years, the chubby starfish has a thing for mermaids.
Hey! At least Sonic returned his feelings for me after we left the games 14 years ago.
I'm guessing Japanese Sonic and Amy have always been in love with each other, as I saw the previous video where Japanese Shadow mentioned that his Sonic and Amy are not only married, but have 10 kids. Jesus, I thought they were just dating, but maybe they were in a facade, faking the feelings.
I mean, the games currently have Amy and me as just friends, but just after we joined this channel last year, I said, screw this, we're dating. My Amy and I are now a legit couple. We're just doing a facade as well. If we do finally get together in the games, then Sega and Sonic Team must have watched this channel.
I've been dating my Amy for 20 years, just as long as the first SpongeBob movie came out, and we've been married for almost a year. Our 6 kids are 3 months old, and to top it off, we're in Mexico. We gotta wrap up this video and do something fun with these sea creatures.
Now that my first movie is reviewed, our next video should be the gameplay of the game based on my first movie. My video games used to be gold back when my show was in its heyday.
I'm sad that Sandy and the others weren't involved in our movie and game as much as me and SpongeBob. Squidward was only in the computer version of the game, and Mr. Krabs shouts off screen in the pause menu.
At least the rest of your friends were more involved in your movie sequels. Next year, we should review Sponge Out of Water with my crew.
If the next video's a gameplay, I better join. It's been just the 4 Kids crew, and that Lombax, Tiny Robot, and the sea creatures that have been doing those videos so far. We should have a little adventure era and current/meta era representation in the gaming videos.
Sounds like the next video is planned out already. That should wrap up the review, ladies and gentlemen. We reviewed the first SpongeBob movie, and we're about to play the SpongeBob movie game in the next video.
We'll still be in Mexico in the next couple videos. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Remember to click on the bell so you won't miss new videos, and we got plenty of them.
And spread the word. Follow us on TikTok.
Stick around and stay tuned for more new videos. Who's gonna say it?
Amy and I planned on saying something different since we're in Mexico. Ready, babe?
Ready? You mean estoy listo.
Hasta la próxima, amigos! This has been Juan CL Productions. The end.